please come forward. And on Pallavas in Tamil. And one more to Sri Shivakumar, the trustee of Sri Guru Arpan Bhajan Samaj Trust. I think a keen enthusiast in terms of arts, and his daughter is a Bharatanatyam artist. Okay. Yeah. So, to give you a perspective of what Sri Ram is as an individual, as a boy, probably I'll ask Mrs. Vishalam Swami to come forward and say a few words. Please come.
Thank you, Ramesh. Sabyorku namaskaram. பரதநாட்டியத்தை பற்றி அதிகமாக எனக்கு பேச தெரியாது. ஆனால் இருக்கிற கோவில்கள் எல்லாம் பார்த்தா அங்கே எல்லாமே பரதநாட்டியம் போஸ்டர்ஸ் அண்ட் ஸ்கிரிப்சர்ஸ் அண்ட் இதுதான் ஸ்கல்ப்சர்ஸ் தானுங்க. அதை பார்த்து பார்த்து பரதநாட்டியம் படிக்காமல் இருந்துட்டோமேன்னு ஒரு ஏக்கம் இருக்குது எப்போவுமே. அதை ஸ்ரீராம் இந்த ஃபார்மில் புக்கு ஃபார்மில் கொண்டு வருவன்னு நான் சொப்பனத்துக்குள்ள நினச்சிக்கல. அவனை குழந்தையிலேருந்து தெரியும். ஒரேஷியஸ் ரீடர் அண்ட் அசாத்தியமாக படிப்பன். சிஏ, சிஎஸ், எல்எல்பி எல்லாம் ஃபஸ்ட் அட்டம்ப்டில் பாஸ் பண்ணவனாக்கும். ரொம்ப சமத்துனார், அப்படி ஒரு சமத்து. எனக்கு ஐ எம் வெரி ப்ரௌட் ஆஃப் ஹிம். அவனோட மதர்லி அஃபெக்ஷன் ஹாஸ் brought me to this stage as a chief guest. I don't think I deserve this, but he has given me this power, or whatever it is you call it. And I am very happy that I could be with you all. Thank you very much.
We have an art enthusiast in B.S. Iyer, very company secretary with Maiko. He was there. He's a consultant. He was a chairman of 3M, and he is here on stage. You will find him in many of the auditoriums for dance, for music. A great enthusiast. I know that he has not gone through the book. He has not had the opportunity, but I'm sure he will bring in, and he writes a lot. So Iyer writes a lot for the ICAI, the Charter Accountancy, the company secretary groups, everything. Very, very thought-provoking leader, I would say. I request him to share some thoughts about what would have gone behind a book like this. That itself is an amazing journey.
Good morning, all of you. A few days back, Ramesh sent one flyer to me saying that you must attend this program. And it was about Bharatanatyam, as the cover would say. So I am novice to Bharatanatyam. Therefore, I am no good person to talk on this forum, at least on dance. But still, I said, let me take a look in and find out what is this all about. So I did my own little bit of search, which I told Ram today morning when I met him. I know him only for the last few minutes. Okay. So I found that he's a man of multivarious interests. And he has a passion for those subjects, commercial and management and economics and law, with which I am also associated. So we share that commonness. But I also know how boring we all can be, because this subject is like that. But I saw that within all that, you have some inner calling, which is what has made you write about dance and also the previous book. So he is a combination of head and heart, I think so. So I just scrolled through and I found that he has a checkered career. I'm talking not about Bharatanatyam, I'm talking about his other facet. And then I come to his art form. So he has been with uh, companies like Cognizant, Accenture, Deloitte. Then he's been with Microsoft Dynamics. So I don't know. His progression in his career has been consistent and up in the north all the time. And then he has his own other academics. If you look at it, he's a chartered accountant, he's a cost accountant, he's a lawyer, as he said. Then also from the Institute of Management Accountant from UK. I'm also a management accountant, incidentally, from the University of Bombay. So I know what it all means. Then he's from Bombay University. I'm also from Bombay University. So we share something common. Then he has also is volunteering with Asha Sadan. So and if you look at his skill set, that goes in pages, whether it is project management or finance or software or consultancy or business analytics, you name it, he has put his hand there. So, and languages, he knows about 6 languages, that's what I understand. Okay. So, such a personality to be interested in a art form, I have not come across until recently, except you perhaps. Okay. So this book also, I read a little bit about the book. I think he has gone from the early stages of Bharatanatyam to the contemporary stages of dancing. Am I right, sir? So he is not traditional only, he is also traditional, progressive, and modern. So I'm sure this book which he has written, I will go through that, is going to be a very great addition to the art form itself. And I have also offered to him that I will see that his book is taken for book reading in the Boring Institute. And he will be invited to present, and there will be people asking, knowledgeable people will be asking questions. So that opportunity is there for you. Let us see whether it works out. So thank you very much, Ram. It has been a good time for me to be with you here this morning. Thank you very much.
So, okay. So Iyer talked about this contemporary, and which is so very much important. You know, these days, the traditional things are slightly taking a back seat. Viewers, the young viewers, are not so tuned to the Varnam of those days. They are not, because in those days, the பரதநாட்டியத்தில் ஒரு வர்ணம் பண்ணலைன்னா என்ன பண்ண டான்ஸு கேட்டுடுவா ஓவர் யூ finished. Today the youngsters are not very keen. They want to attempt other things. They want to look at things. You have this color and Bharatanatyam. Any dancer must learn at least 2 forms of dance. You are nothing without 2 forms of dance. When I say 2 forms of dance, I'm talking of, it could be Bharatanatyam with a combination of Kathak, it could be Odissi with Bharatanatyam. It has to have, then only you will have the understanding of the various aspects of movements, you know. So things are changing in the contemporary side. Youngsters are looking at different themes. Youngsters are looking at ways in which a contemporary subject can be presented in an art form with Bharatanatyam. So a lot of things are changing, and I'm sure this book has a lot of insights into those things and gives them the thought-provoking, you know, the aspects which could bring about this kind of difference in the choreography. Thanks a lot again, Sriram, for that. I know Balu is a relative of Sriram, and Lata is not here today, right? Lata is not there. but I'm sure the kind of support she would have given and the trouble she would have gone tolerating somebody like Ram writing the book. I don't know whether that can be explained by Balu. I request Balu to come forward and say a few words on that.
Good morning, all. So before Balu comes on stage, I wanted to give you all some background to what Balu does. So he's actually a consultant and advisor to United Nations to multiple countries on aviation and on dangerous goods. He's been heading that for Emirates, and also on safety and operations. Have I covered it all? Yeah. He's also worked with the Prime Minister's organization, PMO, to design a course for aviation, and it is being spoken, taught, and discussed in multiple universities in India. He's a part of FIATA, which is a global body for dangerous goods, and he's dangerous himself. So he will come and talk to us.
Thank you, Ram, for the generous introduction. I was very fortunate to be associated with Prime Minister Modi's office in devising the national logistics policy, which was introduced about a year and a half. So it was hard work. And taking a minute out of that, nothing to do with dance, is Mr. Modi is a real CEO. You know, when you talk to him at technocrat level, he's a different person. He is not the prime minister that all of us know as a public speaker, actually. But it's a pleasure to work under such a person who runs the country like a CEO. From there, aviation has been my blood. I've been in this industry for about 46 years. I know Ram for about 40 plus years, actually. And having seen Ram, if in English dictionary there is a word called restless, if there is a positive connotation that can be given for that word, நீங்க போய் கூகுள் மாமியை கேட்டால்னா சொல்லும் ஸ்ரீராம்னு போடும் அதுல அந்த வார்த்தையில ரெஸ்ட்லெஸ் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் அப்படின்னா ஸ்ரீராம்னு வரும் உங்களுக்கு. ஸோ இதுல பியூட்டி என்னன்னா கால் ஒரு இடத்துல நிற்காது, ஓட்டம் 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 எப்போ பார்த்தாலும் ஓடின்னு இருப்பான். ஸோ நான் சிம்சிம் பிரேக் போடுவேன், ராம் நீ ரொம்ப ஃபாஸ்ட்டாக போகிற கொஞ்சம் மெதுவாக போகுமா, இந்த மாதிரி சொல்கிறதுக்கு தான் உன்ன மாதிரி ஆள் இருக்கணும்மா என்கிட்ட. பட் வி ஷேர் சச் அ நைஸ் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் பிகாஸ் I lived in Dubai for a long time, 30 years nearly. Ram was there for 3 years, Ram? 4 years. 4 years they were there. So Ram and so his children were also born at that time. Our children, and they are of the same age. So we had more close relationship when we were in Dubai together. There was never an inkling of, let me bring two aspects of human life: gross, subtle. Gross things are things which all of us know, everything which is visible physically, it can be felt, it can be seen, it can be enjoyed. Subtle are things which are connected with heart. It is connected with art. It is connected with silence. I cannot have dreamt in my life that my dear friend Ram will get into that subtle art form of Bharatanatyam dance and write a huge book about it. Big round of applause for Ram on that. That shows the subtlety of heart, even though externally he shows that he is a busy man running around like a headless cow. Ennathukku chicken cow nu solla. Okay. Yes, exactly. Not alone that, I don't say it is the bread and butter of my thing. I'll say idli and chutney. Better that way. In other words, you can see the facet of that person of seemingly two extreme ends of human evolution. Shabda Brahman being a friend is one extreme. Silence being the friend is the other extreme. So out of silence comes the art. What probably I can stand in this dais, or any one of us can stand in this dais and explain in 22 words or 2,200 words, probably Akshaya will show it in one mudra. And the impact of the word that I spoke will be much less than the mudra that she showed on the stage, which will have a lasting impact. That is where science becomes art. The science of Bharatanatyam she would have learned from her guru, But when she performs it as an applied art, then that is where the real art comes, divinity comes, and that is where spirituality evolves. So evolution of human being is more in art, more in subtle thing, less in physical things, and less in gross things there. Ram is standing example சொல்ல முடியாது, உட்கார்ந்திருக்கான். Sitting example of really that one, if he puts the mind, it could be a CA, it could be an LLB, or it could be Bharatanatyam and how Pallavas did those temples. So, and another thing, Ram, I don't know whether he realized it, he is doing another very great service for the future generations by trying to bring those youngsters, because youngsters also have unsatiable inquisitiveness. Those inquisitiveness can be turned to these areas where they would do more work, which Ram would be proud of probably in a future there. So that also you have created actually an avenue for such people. Another round of applause for that aspect of Ram's work on that. So we do things in life. The spin-off that we get, what triggers makes us do is one thing, but the spin-offs we get in that is what is the benefit to the whole society. And that is where these type of creations are just not creations. They are there for centuries to stand and to be outbeaten in a positive manner by their successors there. So I wish Ram all the best in everything. Write more, continue to be restless. That is the best way to lead life. Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Balu sir, and it's an honor to have you in Unnati today. The amount of work you have done for the country in the logistics part of it, in the aviation industry. Incidentally, I handle one of those items which only Indian Airlines pick up, not the others. I deal in isotopes which are used for cancer research. Wonderful. So I do for BRIT, BRC. I move the materials from BRC Mumbai to Bangalore and all the hospitals here. I move the isotopes thing. So I know how critical it is and the kind of advice you are giving to the government and making it happen. Yes, please.
All the regulators throughout the world, that is all the customs authorities and the airports, they do not know the importance of radionuclear medicine, the value of it in saving lives.
Absolute.
Which, Ramesh, like what people say.
Yeah.
The International Atomic Energy Agency formed a small team of 3 of us to go around the world and teach all the regulators the importance of these isotopes in saving lives, so that these things are not related. Because time is the only critical. I'm not going to give a
Thank you very much, sir. Because
but they did that. Many governments are today sending these goods faster than.
oh, yeah, absolutely. And of course, what he says is true. Even today, many people don't know how to handle it, how to accept it, and create problems. They will offload something so easily. They will treat it as normal cargo, all sorts of things even continue. But thanks to you, it is at least happening easily today, at least in Indian Airlines. Even now, the private airlines don't touch it. They don't touch it. Anyhow, so thanks a lot, and what a way to it's this is what the quality is, the way to use restlessness as an epitome of performance. Balu has done it so beautifully, and I really appreciate that, because that is true with Sri Ram. The way the Sukhi Shivam சொல்லுவார், the pendulum பாருங்க இங்க எப்படி போகும், right? It will never stop in between. You'll have from here to this side, right? So you will always find people who are extremely academic and all that, otherwise totally creative, and the commonness is not very often. And I think Sri Ram has bridged that brought that commonness into his own life and everywhere, and we are all benefited because of that. Thank you so much. I call upon Shanta, a great friend of Sri Ram, to come and say a few words about it.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure if I deserve to be here, but a great sitting amongst all the great people on the stage. Just to give an introduction about myself, I'm Shanta. I'm working in GE Healthcare as a senior manager, and the way I got associated to Ram is quite strange. I did a course in XLRI through a friend called Surya. And so I was looking for a job change, and that's when Surya introduced me to. Uh, it's so strange, right? The world is so small, and we don't know where what leads to. So I got introduced to Ram, and I'm really blessed and really thanks Surya for introducing me to such a great person. And I'm getting to know him. I didn't know him earlier, how he is and what he is, and as I'm getting to know about him, I'm feeling more blessed. It's really amazing to have such a friend in life. And yeah. Ju- So, and how I got associated to the book is while I was talking to Ram, I was introducing about my family to him, and I said my daughter is a Bharatanatyam dancer. And then that's when he said, I'm writing a book on Bharatanatyam, and that was even more surprising to me, because seeing his his background, his career, the option or his regular job, I was like really wondered that he's doing something like this. And then that's when he said, why don't you share some of your pictures, some of your daughter's pictures? And this was about 6 or 7 years back is when my daughter was dancing. So it so happened that she started her dance at the age of 6, and then because of rigorous practice, or probably her body was not ready to accept that kind of a practice, she ended up having a severe knee pain, because of which we had to stop her dance. And then I told Ram, she's not dancing anymore. Do you really think we need to put her pictures or put her in this book? Then he encouraged me so much that let us at least contribute or appreciate what she's already done. And this can be very encouraging for her as well, to think about dance and coming back to dance. And after seeing the pictures, I was really amazed to see some of the response what I'm getting from my daughter, that she's really wants to get back to dance, and she's really thinking about how can I improve my strength of my legs and see how I can come back to dance. And thanks to Ram for all the encouragement and motivation, what he's doing for my daughter. And about the book, I was in Chennai as well for the inauguration, and I got a copy of the book, and we have just glanced, and my husband has already finished few chapters of it. And it's really amazing to see the content in the book. I really encourage everyone to read it, especially the youngsters who are really getting deviated a lot these days towards the Western world. And it's really very important to keep them aligned to our roots. It's so easy. In fact, my daughter, I made this comment even in Chennai, that she hears some comments from her friends saying that Bharatanatyam is so boring. Western dance is so, it's peppy and it's very audience catching. So these kind of comments often demotivate the kids, right? So it's very important that we make sure that our children stick to our culture, our roots, and it requires a lot of effort from parents and people like Ram, who is contributing to the society. So please, I encourage everyone to read the book, and wish you all the best, Ram. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shanta. No doubt about it. And it's very true. The youngsters are fascinated by, the speed of the Western things and all that. But like you said, once they read and then they understand the entire physicality and the soulfulness of our classical performing arts, then it becomes the spiritual journey. So it's important that we lead them to that spiritual journey. And with regard to your daughter's thing, I think you have Sham sitting there, who is into sports and analytics. He may know some people who can strengthen the yeah, because it is about strengthening of the whole body system and then using it. So these are possible today because it's so difficult today, even in sports, to maintain yourself healthy. So it's become so important. I think that should not be a deterrent at all, right? We have Sri Shivakumar, who's a trustee of SGBS Sri Guru Bhajan Samaj Trust. I'll take this opportunity to just talk to you about what Sri Guru Bhajan Samaj does. Apart from the Saturday bhajans which are there, it is one of the premier organizations in the country to promote art, dance, music, the best of artists, whether it is in Carnatic music, Bharatanatyam, have all performed on this stage and Odukutturmat over the years, or last 4 decades. You name the artists, right, from Vajayantimala to Leela Sampson, to so many people have performed here. Very schools, Bhanumati, so many people from Karnataka have been performing here. That is one vertical of the trust. The second vertical of the trust has been with regard to funeral services, which we run a place near the Alsur Lake called Samstha at the time of bereavement. It's an extremely selfless service. Just one phone call at the time of bereavement, and a lot of things are taken care. It is extremely personally very gratifying, right? Shiksha is another program where we fund a lot of children in schools, right from first standard to 10th standard, and some of them goes beyond that also. Then came the biggest flagship program of SGBS Trust, which is Unnati. Unnati is one of those programs which is game changer for the underprivileged youth in the age group of 18 to 25. 35 days, they are taught English, life skills, values, computers, and a vocation. End of 35 days, they have a corporate job fetching them anywhere between 15,000 to 20,000 rupees. 35 days. In most of the centers, the organization has got over 40 centers across the country. A new program which started 3-4 years back, 5 years back, just before COVID, is called You Next, Unnati Next, or the youth sitting next, is a finishing school model which happens in government schools for final years alone. This organization has been growing from strength to strength, and today, till March 23, we would have done around 80,000 youth across the country. This year alone, 23-24. Yeah. This year alone, 23-24, the organization is attempting, and I think with God's grace and blessings, we should achieve 1 lakh youth this year. And in 10 states, most of it happening in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Telangana, Kerala, all these states in a big way in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and then now the emphasis is in Madhya Pradesh and UP. So this is what Unnati has been doing, and we look forward to many of you who are not aware of it to participate in your own way. You could volunteer, you could spend time with the youth. This is a center, this is the main center where a lot of, even right now, if you go to the basement, a lot of people have come. There's a class starting tomorrow, there are batches starting tomorrow, and there are trainers who are getting trained here. They go back to the states. So a lot of things happen. Just to give you an idea of the kind of change which it has brought about, in the sense, right from the organization perspective, September 22, the strength of this organization was 140 youth, 140 trainers and staff. Today, as I speak to you, it is over 600 people. So that's the kind of growth we have been showing. This is the first organization in the country to be registered and listed as an NGO in the social stock exchange. It has created history by going into the social stock exchange and there in BSc and NSC as an organization. So a lot of things have happened, and it is friends like Sri Ram who has also supported Unnati in the past and being associated. And yesterday he was here for the valediction and he was talking about how he was moved by to see the youth speak about it. So before, I just wanted to make you understand the depth and breadth of SGBS Trust before I hand over the mic to Shiv Kumar.
Namaskaram to everyone. So thanks for giving me this opportunity. So I came to know Mr. Ram probably 10 minutes before when I was having a coffee. Of course, the flyer came from Ramesh. So a lot of people talked here about what is common between them and Ram. Of course, they have their own, professional and personal association. I was just chatting with Mr. Ram and saying that how he got into this thing and what is the association of for him with dance. He says his daughter learned a dance. Probably that is the only common thread I find between myself and dance. My daughter also learns a dance, but I can guarantee I can never write a book like you. Okay, right? So that much is sure. Should as much as one knows their strength, one should know their limitation. I'm very much aware of what is my limitation, but yeah, it's an I happen to sort of go through just a glimpse of this Pallavas Kanchipuram one. So before I go into, naturally you couldn't have gone anything beyond that. What it takes to write a book in today's context, right? Especially when the world is, the information is available in your tip of your stroke. What is very important is what we call myself being an electronics engineer, what we call it as a signal to noise ratio when we, doing the communication processing. So what is the information? What is the irrelevant information? How do you give that in the context of a world which is filled with so-called information, right? It's a very, very difficult. So it requires a lot of research, lot of bringing out the extensive, right, the gist of the any subject, be it is in art or science. Even in my own professional life today, to write a 2-page article, it's very difficult because I have to give something which is so relevant, important, non-contradictory, and it's nothing new which is not available, right? So it's putting into all these aspects to write a book is no longer a easy task in this today's world. And hats off to Mr. Ram for bringing this, right? And I'm sure these books, will have a multiple facets. Someone was talking about the how the new generation kids are sort of getting some type of setback when it comes to the Indian art. It's I have a feeling I have seen all of being a parent, and then I have seen with the how I think one thing which Mr. Ramesh Omi also keeps emphasizing in the organization is this young generation, they need a very authentic data, and then it should be capsuled correctly to them, right? I believe it me from my own experience. Once they get the conviction that it is right, you cannot stop them, right? You cannot, and then it will be like they will keep going, and then they will take their own path to research, etc. But it is just that as a parents and as a society, what is needed is to bringing that conviction that this is a right form. It's not, you have your own space to explore and then go ahead, right? I think there are eminent dance teachers here in this thing. I don't know how to express what is a dance is. I mean, as I told, as a parent, I have seen that, how expressive this art form is, and then what type of scopes it gives. Despite being so-called traditional, how it can, you can emulate a modern theme in that, and then, or in the same, take a Ramayana, you can put your own thought and choreograph, right? So all those type of thing without violating the grammar. That's what always, and because I happen to associate with this great organization, I have seen the eminent people talking here. Some I forget, right? Someone says there is a difference between what you call the the creativity and the confusion, right? You shouldn't be always, right? You should know the boundary between them, right? A creativity doesn't mean that you are not given a freedom to think, but you cannot create a chaosness about thinking that it is a creativity, right? I think these art forms or our thing is they always give that boundary in which you can experiment, right? So I think that way I'm very happy. This, the book will definitely be of use to a lot of dancers in exposing different facets of it, and it will be a great benefit for them. And what for me is even more surprising is not the book what Mr. Ram has written, and I was seeing the upcoming books which he is having, Rudram and Chamakam, Pallavas, Kanchipuram Volume 2, I Have a Dream of Sculptures. I think the list of books he has in this, table is taking more time for me to read, okay, than, okay. So the types, I am sure the type of research which he is, even just when I glimpse through the pages of these books, right, from the Pallavas, when he has written in terms of how authentic those evidences are, right? It is in today's context, you cannot just present something based on perception, right? It should be substantiated with so much of evidence. I can see that everything has been substantiated with evidence, be it a scripture, be it is a past, the writing. So that way, I'm sure the type of, the humongous effort that has gone behind it. I wish Mr. Ram all the more success, and then, blessings from the great elders to bring out more such books, okay, which I'm sure, I think the one generally when we talk to our, friends and other thing, a general, what you call a shortcoming in our whole Indian system of teaching is it's all a karna parampara. It's a word of mouth, right? We have sort of got into this documentation late in the game, right? So that's the reason some of them have lost its authenticity. Also, it depends on how effectively the person who has grasped transferred the knowledge. But now I'm sure that all these efforts, like people like you, in terms of bringing a structured documentation with evidence, and thanks to the information age where it will be available as a for posterity, for the future generation, this will be of a great help. And I wish you include more and more like-minded people who can, in your team, to bring, such topics and in future. So just to conclude the, my thing, so as a dance, because it's a book about the dance, so we see that as a dance form, right, we have seen in this stage artists across different age group in different part of their career, right? Someone who started as a raw performer, a young performer who was trying to bring in so many what you call the new ideas and the new steps, very, very impressive steps, to as they grow in the stage, you see the maturity brings in, etc. And the final form where they feel it's not dance, I am one of it, right? When that oneness of that, their feeling comes with that art form, be it is an dance or music, the type of energy it transfers to the audience. We are all a common audience, right? So the type of energy, the type of experience what the people get, that's something extreme. I don't think as a dancer you can feel, because as an audience we can feel that, okay, right? So it is a very, very, this journey we see every artist is going through in their life at a different part of stage. So, and all these art forms finally converges at a point where they realize that, yes, I am one form of, some type of a philosophical touch where it is sort of converging. In fact, while I was talking today, I got an invitation about Bharatanatyam and the human philosophy. There is a talk somewhere going on. So I'm so glad that these art forms give such a wide scope just beyond the art form to explore multiple dimensions of the human life and our values. So I'm sure the books of these kinds which touch across these forms in multiple angles will be of a great benefit. And the dance as such doesn't have any type of age barrier, okay, right? So we have seen that yesterday, to top it up, yesterday you would have seen in the social media the great Vaijayanta Malabali at age of 90, she was performing in Ayodhya. Okay, it's viral in the the social media. So it just goes to the saying that age is not a barrier, okay, right? It can go. So thanks for the opportunity. And I was very great to have sharing a dais with all these people and Mr. Ram. Thanks once again for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's amazing at her age, Vaijanti Malawali, Aramandi photograph. It's not an ordinary thing. Not these youngsters cannot do that. That is the kind of quality. Adella sadhanam. Adella, it has come from sadhanam. They have just lived. We see the art form, like he said. Shiva is a voracious reader. He reads a lot, and And the good thing is he too would have been like Sriram with Intel and chip design and all that. But the girl in the house brought about the huge change. So he knows little bit of music, dance, and all those aspects now, a lot more. And he's doing a lot of research into that also. It is evident from the way he spoke today, and it's true that spiritual journey must be associated with the art form always. So let me put the man of the hour on stage and ask him the restlessness in his mind, what made him start this journey, and how it is going to be going forward, or what is the plans, please. Ram.
Good morning. Namaskaram for all. So restlessness, Ramesh spoke about, a lot of people spoke about me. So I'm going to use the first 3 minutes to talk about others. Very relevant because this is a platform called Unnati. Unnati is nothing but transformation. And if you actually look at the logo as you walk in, you'll realize that this was actually done by Sudha Murthy when she inaugurated it. I don't think any person possibly takes center stage for social change and contribution to that much more from that. Something which we need to talk about, Ramesh, because I think he doesn't like talking about it. That's why I said I should talk about it. So far, about 80,000 people. So yesterday I was here, sitting there, I was asked to sit here. So 148 batches of Unnati's 35-day program was over, with all of them performing on dance, and they were not talking about what they learned. But I was sitting literally the place where Valli is sitting now, and I was crying for about 2 minutes because the weight of the gratitude has gravity. And actually, there is a very good friend of mine called Dr. Shekhar Mayalil, who's a neurologist in US. He has written a brilliant book on the gravity of gratitude, and he has connected Hanuman Chalisa with the ability to transform. So that is one journey. I'll share all these links. A few things. I don't know how many of y'all know on stage. There is only one person in this whole auditorium. At the age of 83, she did skydiving in New Zealand last year. That's Vishala Mami. So I know of, so when we did a first roller coaster ride in Disney, Lata and I had gone, and one daughter, we were sitting on one roller coaster and Lata was sitting with the second one. So Lata actually looked at me and said, after we finished the ride, she said, if you want to die, tell me, you don't need to put me on the roller coaster. So that was just 30-second ride. And here we are talking about skydiving. I have to make special mention of a very dear friend of mine who's sitting here, Arun Kohli. Arun and I go back to 1985. And when he came back from working in the Middle East, that was 1996. And we met in Bangalore. He has settled in Bangalore ever since. His daughter should be another classic example of how heart rules the mind. So she was one of the primary child who went into J. Krishnamurthy's school at the age of 4th standard, Arun. And then she went on to do her MA, and she finished her literature. No, she did her architecture. And the first job that she got was to design something for one of the leisure resorts on the Bombay, on the Bangalore-Mysore road, where she was told that she will be taught some part of yoga. But I think that was something which is the best thing that happened. She came back home. The architecture part has gone for a toss. Now she teaches yoga full-fledged. So that's where heart rules the mind. Another one young man here, only half of him is here. The other half is missing, Sham. So I've known Sham since when our first daughter was born, that was 1991. So when they were in Adyar that time in Chennai. One of the most, I hate him because he's a nerd. IIT Madras, before that Kendriya Vidyalaya, both of them, then IIT Madras, then went to the US to do their PhD. They worked in GE in the same location. I don't know how many times one of them has not gone and the other one has finished the work for the other. So that is one. They returned to India, and now he's into data science. And I saw some things she was relating to kabaddi and football. So these are the transformation parts. So what I'm just trying to say is, under this roof, we are seeing transformation across coming in from multiple people. So if you look at the first part of transformation, if you'll have read or learned Sri Suktam. So Sri Suktam, everyone believes it is for praying to Lakshmi, but Sri Suktam is a part of the Rig Veda between the 5th and the 6th chapters. It has nothing to do with any of the gods that we pray. It is for alchemy of transformation, and that is Agni. So fire as the element is the only element where whatever is the input, output is ash. That is why it's used as a purification, and that's why it's used in the temple as well. I've got a few things coming up on temples and stuff. So that's the part of transformation. So sitting here, yesterday we said, we listened to the young kids who are talking about what transformed them just in the 5 weeks of being here. So we just, so Ramesh and I thought we should do something for the kids. So we just announced that we'll do 1 lakh every year going on from now. So Ramesh will find what we should do with the money. So that's a corpus. I will encourage anyone and everyone who wants to be a part of the transformation here. This is the opportunity. That was one big one. The last 2 weeks I've been in India. I'm here for another 3 days. I'll talk about the transformation. So restlessness, you will get addressed there. So first thing was, we did the first launch in Chennai last Sunday, same time. So the book on Tamil, which Palu is holding, so there was somebody who came in from Dinamalar. So now Dinamalar is going to take over the publication, and they will market it, and they will take it to all the literary festivals. If they make a mistake of calling us, we will come in and talk. That is the first one. The second one which happened is, from Chennai, we moved to the next particular part. So if you look at the book and see page 3, every rupee or dollar that comes from the sale of the book goes to charity. So yesterday, day before, we had a book launch in Bombay, and that was at the Yacht Club. So we had pre-orders of about 14 books. So we just wrote a check of about 50,000 rupees for the Asha Sadan, which is only for girl children. Whatever comes in from the books sale from here today will by default go to Unnati, and we'll top it up with some more. So that's the kind of things that we're talking. So the next change that happened is Anant Vaidyanathan. I don't know how many of you have seen him on Super Singer and some. So he has taught our daughter Shruti music 26 years back. So we know him for the last 30 years. So I was just talking to him when we were on the way. So we just announced one book next year. We'll do a coffee table book for him, and that's on voice modulation. So that's for restlessness. Then I was on a flight to Delhi because I was attending, last year I was supposed to speak on Kashmiri Shaivism and Abhinava Gupta in Somnath Temple. That could not happen because of COVID. But the lady who was sitting next to me, I didn't talk to her for the first 1 hour, 40 minutes of the flight. The last 10 minutes, she was playing Lalita Sahasranamam on her phone, and I just got talking. So she's a retired professor for English literature from Delhi University, and her husband is Pandit Bhajan Sapori, who's a child prodigy for playing santoor. So I got introduced to the family, and Abhay, the son whom I met. So we agreed to do a coffee table book on santoor. So we'll release it at the India International Center next year, more like Diwali timeframe. So that's for restlessness. Yeah, he's also the cousin. So if you have seen Siddharth Kak doing the Surabhi program, that's all cousins. They've got in their entire family, the worst educated guy is a PhD. So that's a kind of intellectual, this mass they carry. Couple of things we announced yesterday. So we are also coming up with an app, iPhone app for learning Bharatanatyam. And Akshaya is going to be helping a lot. She and I spoke. We have already volunteered her daughter to participate in that after her exams are over. So it'll be an app for iPhone and Android. There is only one app available like that on the iPhone, and we know the persons who have created it. She's related to the cricketer Krishnamacharya Srikanth, some cousin of hers. So we thought if we want to do it, might as well do it the best. So we had one meeting yesterday, and I actually introduced Vishal Mami to the people from Pune who are going to be developing it. So should we add any more? So that's on the transformation part. Since it is Unnati, I'm sharing this. It's under this banner that we can do this. So book, quite honestly, it was easy to write. It's about 107,000 words. It's about 2.5 kilos weight, 600 pages, 740 photographs, and we have literally covered everything. In fact, I spoke to one friend of ours who's called KJ Singh. He's a sound designer, works with A.R. Rahman. So we have covered Dhwani. You said Dhwani. So Mala, who happens to be also my childhood friend, happens to be related to Ramesh and Vishalamami also. So we went through the whole. So I'll just talk about one small part of the book and then we'll wrap it up and we can have interactive sessions. So Dhwani was one chapter where I went into the physics of sound. From sound, we went to what the 20,000 to 20 megahertz that comes up. That's the tonality that is audible for human ear. Then we went into the subsonic, supersonic, and then we covered into the evolution of sound. Then we went into the numismatics. And then there is a, I don't know how many of you all know, there is one yajnam which happens in Alway and Alleppey in Kerala for the last 5,000 years. They do it for 12 days and they erect a pandal and the whole family stays inside that. You cannot even write what the mantras are because they're all sounds of birds and animals. And that was last done in 2008 or 2009. So we have covered that also. Then we have talked about Sa Re Ga Ma Pa. What is the etymology? Where does it sound from? Where does it originate from? Does it come from an elephant? Does it come from a goat? Does it come from a horse? Those kind of things we have done. So evolution of sound we have done. Then if you look at sound itself, sound has a few qualities, right? It's like tonality, volume, diction, meter, rhythm, laya, and that forms a raga. From a raga to a rasa to a natuangam, which is the accompaniment for the dance. We have covered that. It's only 12 pages in the book. It took me about 4 months to write that. And then we went into the Nada Brahma part of it. So there is a professor in University of Hoboken in New Jersey. I've actually quoted there are about 160 references which we have quoted in the book. So that's just one chapter. And then there is a concept of the Rasa Sutra. Rasa Sutra, in fact, Akshay and I spoke about 2 weeks back. So Rasa Sutra is primarily from Vibhava to the final part, which is 5 stages. It is so abstract to even read. When I was reading the Manmohan Ghosh book on Natya Shastra, which is the English translation, it took me about 2 weeks to understand. Then I said, okay, if I have to write something on it, I have to dumb it down to my level and then present it to somebody who can read it. So that's one chapter. It's the biggest chapter in the book. It's about 28 pages. That took me about 8 months. So the Rasa Sutra related part goes into that. Since Ramesh spoke about the restlessness and Visla, so when we were trying to promote the book, we wanted to do something on digital marketing. So I got quotations of $10,000 for 2 years or 5 lakhs from my friends. So I went into teaching myself something. So there is a generative AI for video generation. The app is called Visla. So I can write 4 lines about the book. The app generates a story, screenplay, narration, generates a video, and creates a music depending on what the book is. And it generates it in 20 minutes. So I saved about $8,000. It took me 15 minutes to learn and 5 minutes to produce it. So we have generated a lot of those content. We will start. So some more things which we thought through yesterday. In fact, I was talking to my friend in the US. For every Arangetram performance in the US in 2 states, 1 book will be gifted free to the parents and the dancer. And we just want to have a place to keep a stall where we can sell the books. So whatever is sold comes back to charity. So that's been the few things. Thank you so much.
Just to, in case you all have a question to ask, any thoughts which comes to your mind, anybody would like to share, please come forward. I'm still wanting to know what inspired you to do something like this. That's a question which I know that you were not too much into the art forms, etc. So what inspired you to do something like this? Can you? Yeah.
So I knew this question will come. So that's why I wrote the first 3 pages of the book. Why did I write the book on Bharatanatyam? So actually, Shanta's husband has already read some chapters, so he should be able to talk on my behalf. So the objective was, so when I was writing the book on Pallavas, I was told that copyrights is a big problem. So I traveled about maybe 4,000 kilometers across Tamil Nadu, covering only temples. The criteria for temples was they should be more than 1,000 years old. In between, we went into 4 temples where we found, this was Chidambaram, and Chidambaram had all the 108 on the eastern Gopura and the northern part. And then we went to 2 more temples, and we said, this is too much. We need to get this codified. That was the journey.
Very interesting. Yeah. Anyone would like to ask anything? I know the lunch time is there. Already the caterer called me and said, when are you all coming? Because he had talked about 12:15, it's 12:30, right? So if there is 1 or 2 questions anybody would like to ask, yeah, please.
Nothing to do with the book or dance, but I want to ask you, how do you divide your time? Between whatever you do.
So I think for all of us, there is only one constant, that is time. So I do something like a power yoga, which means having a very powerful sleep that I do during office hours. So you get the benefit of doing. So I've been so lucky that I have 2 bosses of mine who have helped me do something fantastic. And again, on restlessness, one more thing I share. So I have spent the first 40 years of my life just building network of friends. So my friend happens to be the WRC on the executive board. So I'm actually speaking at a national event for the CA Institute, and the topic we spoke about would be the Navarasas of auditing, of audit. So one of the Navarasas, on the Navarasas, if you look at, one of the Navarasa is Bhayanaka. So Bhayanaka is literally, I don't even know how to express it. So do you want to express it? Bhayanaka? Okay. So Bhayanaka is like, oh my God, I don't want to know it. So we said, if you want to correlate it from a commercial time today, if you have a hostile acquisition, Bhayanaka is what is going to happen to the employees. That is one. Then we were talking about the evolution of dance you spoke about. So if you look at the Shrishti being created from a Big Bang, from there it was what one of the Austrian physicists called Frank Capra talks about is, he's talking about Ananda Tandavam is the point of equilibrium when there is a possibility of creation, where it's balanced. That's double entry accounting, where debit equals credit. So we have spoken and used those kind of things. And then where it is chaos, we said that was the evolution of single entry accounting. So those are all the things that we spoke about. So CA Institute also we are doing one. How do you devote time? Oh, sorry. So I normally spend about 120 to 140 hours per week. So of that, about 40 hours is office. The remaining is mine. See, I create a bit more of time to myself because I don't watch television. I don't watch TV. I don't watch anything called seasons. Called season 1, season 2. So we actually don't have a cable connection at home. So at home, Lata watches pretty much anything which is season. So everyone has got Hotstar, Discovery, Netflix, da. So these things are. So I've been traveling for the last 25 years, staying in Marriott hotels. I've been asked by 3 hotels, the internet, the place where the remote is working, is anything not working? I said, no, I don't watch TV. So it doesn't make a difference to me whether you have a TV or not. Normally I'm up at about 3:30. So that's one. So you create time with that and sleep at about 10:30, 11. So that's all. I mean, you have to create time. There's no other way it's going to happen. So normally at home, anyone who comes home, the golden rule is nobody will do the first coffee other than me. So that's, please come anytime. So we are actually working with, so a few things, future of what this year is going to hold. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk to Dr. Padma Subramaniam to release the book in Chennai. That is one. We are going to come back to the same Unnati place somewhere later in the year where we'll do some annual function part. I've got book releases happening. So because of the network that we spoke about in this, we're going to meet actually the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka later in the year. We have got an audience at the White House in May. We are meeting the mayor of one of the cities in London. Harrow is the place. We have got book launches in Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Singapore on this side. Once you go to the Middle East, it's Dubai, Muscat, Doha, and Kuwait. We'll do one. Kuwait, we've got an invite. Then in Europe, we're doing one in Amsterdam. So actually, if you go to Amsterdam and north of Amsterdam, there is a place called Den Helder. So in Den Helder, there is a Vimana and a Gopura of a Vinayagar Kovil, which is about 80 feet in height. 5,000 Sri Lankan Tamil families, they do a Theru during the month of July, which is 5,000 Tamil speaking families. So we're just trying to get to the people on the executive committee on the board. So there will be one in Amsterdam, one in Den Helder, 3 in UK, London, Manchester, and Birmingham. We're doing one in Munich, Germany. In US, I've been given special permission by the managing director. It's on record. So every city which has more than 100 Indian families. So we're starting with Boston, New Jersey, New York, Delaware, Philadelphia, DC, Raleigh. I'm speaking at an event in the University of Duke. Again, I said network, right? So if I want to speak at the University of Duke, I just call up my friend called Mohan Venkatachalam. He's a professor of accounting at Duke. He said, Machu Vandudra, we can talk. So that is done. I'm speaking at the temple in Cary, which is in North Carolina. We've got one in Charlotte. We're doing one in Miami, Chicago, Houston, Austin. Houston is about 3 events. Austin, Dallas, 2 events. San Francisco, 4 events. And then another one is Kalakshetra has got the 95th anniversary of Rukmini Arundale on 29th of February. So in the US, I got invited to the alumni of Kalakshetra. That's about 250. So that's one there.
Great. Good. So your book, apart from the book, I think the travel calendar itself is booked for all a year or so or more. Thanks a lot. Thank you for doing this honors, Ram, over here. Yeah, please. Kerala.
Oh, we can do. I can work with you. We'll do anything to sell the book because all money is going to charity.
So thanks a lot for being here, and it's an honor that you chose Unnati to do this book launch. Thank you very much. I request all those who are here. Last thing which I want you to say is, how do they buy the book? Do we have enough copies here? And of your online, what is it? You could just, it's there. Okay. So we have books available here. And those who have not brought cash or something, do you have an option? You can inform them, right? Thanks a lot, all of you all. You have been a wonderful audience. Please have lunch. Lunch is served in the basement. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right.
Wally, please come on stage. We're just going to honor all our
Okay.
guests with one.
Right.
Please come, sir. Please come. Please, Wango. Rajesh, please come. Chotana, please come. Rajika, please come. Go ahead. You bought it, so you know what it is. This will go to person. She has daughters. Elder one. Come. Who was that? Murli. Stage go, sir. Good. So the book, we had pre-ordered a few books and I had a problem when I came. One flight did not carry the bag, so that got stranded in London. So we're actually getting books next week. So how do you buy the book? So all book related, it's about 3,000 rupees for the book and about 300 rupees for logistics. So 3,300 is what we are pricing if you're not getting it physically. If you want to take down, you can transfer by GPay. The phone number I can tell you all, or we can write it. So it's in the GPay when you transfer, please put your full postal address so we know that you have paid, and we will send the book by courier by about 2 weeks' time. So if you're ready with the numbers, I can tell you it is 9. So we'll say once and then we'll repeat it much. So the phone number where you can send the money for GPay is 9820949691. Again, 9820949691. Everyone got the number? So it's 9820949691. This is the phone number my father used for 30 years. As his memory, this is the only phone number we are retaining now for India. So 9820949691. So the way it will go is, once you transfer money, I will get the book across. Please put your address when you put the same number, or you can send that as a message to the same number. I will get my friend who's receiving the books next week to courier it. And all the money that comes in is today going to Unnati. So luckily on Monday we could collect 14 books, so that's about 50,000. We topped it up. Feel free to buy the book, and then once you get the book, spread the word. So that's the part. Pallavas is free for y'all. I'll give you all. Pallavas actually you can order on Amazon also, but we have enough copies. We'll give you all that. Yeah. Pallavas is, it's like also. So that will, and Tamil book for Pallavas we actually printed and we got one, but there is about a few books in Chennai. I will get that across for y'all. So whoever wants the Pallavas book also, just put it as a text that we will courier it along with that. That's it. Thank you so much. The lunch, we go downstairs there, Ramesh. So lunch is in the basement. Please join us and we can talk more.